Who knew that I would be reminiscing about advertisements? The one thing that generally annoys pretty much everyone universally. Well, when you take two things that I love, comics and video games, and combine them together, that kinda changes things. Let's take a look. Dudes and dudettes, what is happening? Hope you're having a decent day. So I thought this will be a fun and interesting topic to cover, video game advertisements and comic books. There are a surprising amount of them that I found over the years, so I wanted to show a few. I like these because it's like a literal time machine, seeing things advertised for like the Game Boy Color for example, and it's also kind of a cool way to find hidden gems. So as you can see, I've got a pretty good stack, so let's get to it. First up is this Catwoman comic. I actually didn't even buy this for the comic. I bought it because I saw this on the back. One of my all-time favorite games, NBA Jam TE. I love pretty much every version of it. This issue was from March of 1995, and at the time of its release, this was $1.50. So, Catwoman, NBA Jam, now you're on fire. As you can see, it's being advertised for Genesis, Game Gear, Super Nintendo. Screenshots here. I love this. As soon as I see NBA Jam, I buy it. If you're an 80s or 90s kid and you don't like Beavis and Butthead at least a little bit, you're lying. This is from March of 1995 again, $1.95 at the time of release, and I believe there are multiple video game ads in here. Let's see. This is a Blockbuster music ad, that's kind of cool. Guar, of course. Alright, here's the first one, Ren and Stimpy for the Super Nintendo. I've actually never played Ren and Stimpy. I was never into the cartoon. I thought it was just a little too weird even as a kid. I may revisit it though, who knows. I might enjoy it more as an adult. Just those extreme close-up things they did were ugh. See what else we got in here. This is actually a pretty funny issue too. I actually liked it when I read it, so if you happen to see this, pick it up. Here's something cool, the Punisher for the Sega Genesis. I can't actually remember if I liked the Genesis version or not, it's been too long. But I do know that it was badass in the arcade. Now this is a classic right here, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse for Super Nintendo, one of the best beat-em-ups on the system, and by our buddies at Capcom. Just about anything that Capcom touched in the 90s turned to gold. Also, there's Gambit, of course. How can you not like Gambit? Wait a minute, why was there no advertisement for the game for Beavis and Butthead for the SNES and Genesis? That was released in August of 94. This was March of 95, so it was close enough. It's kind of odd. Not advertising Beavis and Butthead in a Beavis and Butthead comic. I debated on even putting this in the video because there's only really one thing in here and it's not really interesting, but here you go. Free comic book day issue of Wonder Woman, May 2017. They're advertising DC Universe Online for Xbox One, PS3, PS4, PC. Never heard of it, but it's an MMO and I never really cared for MMOs at all. Just not my cup of tea. This one's a bit of an oddball. I actually got this at a free comic book day about 10 years ago. I say 10 years, but this is from June of 2000. That doesn't make much sense, but they gave it to me, so I'm not complaining. I love Alan Moore. Now this isn't game related, but I thought it was funny. Kick Me, advertising Spree Candy. I don't even know if that's even still around, is it? Now here's what I mean by hidden gems. I have never heard of this before. It's a game called Shadow Watch. That's exclusively for PC, I guess. And it looked like a top-down kind of action game, but you interrogate people or something, I don't know. But it looks interesting. I might have to actually check this out. So here's the overall look. I'll just do a close-up here. Kind of looks like comic strips in the advertisement, but I believe that's actually in-game too, from what I was seeing. Nightmare Creatures 2. I remember this not reviewing well back in the day, but now that I'm looking it up again, I guess I'm misremembering. I didn't play 2, I played the first one on the PS1 and I liked it back in the day. Not sure if it's aged well, but fee-fi-fo-fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. That's kind of quirky. Rob Zombie apparently made the soundtrack, that's pretty cool. Here's the weirdest one in this comic. It's an advertisement for the N64, just advertising the colors. In the Dark Ages, one's choice of colors reflected his personal style of madness, mayhem, and mass destruction. It still does. Okay. Got the Crusader looking guys on there. And finally, we have an ad for Jedi Power Battles, Star Wars Episode 1. I believe this came out on both the PlayStation and Dreamcast. Can't remember if it was on the N64. Screenshots right there. Swamp Thing. This is one of my all-time favorite franchises. It's just such a cool character, such a cool universe. And this cover art is really interesting. But this is from December of 2000. It was $250 at the time of its release. And this actually has quite a few video game things in here. So first we have Spec Ops Omega Squad for the Dreamcast. I've never played it. I know the PlayStation Spec Ops game was poop, but here's the advertisement for it. Kind of interesting. Doesn't really show much about the game. Here's something pretty awesome. It's an advertisement for GamePro magazine. I was actually an EGM kid, Electronic Gaming Monthly, and check this out. There is a Kickstarter for a compendium going on right now, and the book is going to ship at the end of September, so keep a lookout for that if you're interested. But back to GamePro. 2 risk-free trial issues of GamePro, and showing Tekken right here, WWF, that's cool, Siphon Filter, Perfect Dark, that's a banger. Here is a 2-page spread for Vampire Hunter D. Right side is for a DVD and the left side is the game. This was for PlayStation, made by Jalico. I didn't even know Jalico made PlayStation games. That's kind of interesting. This looks really cool though. I've never played it, but I like the look of it, so I might have to check it out later. Here's a big wall of text if you want to read that. Last we have MechWarrior 4 Vengeance. Looks like this was just for PC. Doesn't show any screenshots, but pretty cool artwork. I never really got into the MechWarrior series. I played maybe one of them, like one of the 16-bit versions, but it was just never my thing. Which is weird because I love giant robots going boom, especially in video games, but it is what it is. Here's another Swamp Thing. This is from March of 2001. This was $2.50 at the time of release, and there's a couple ads in here. This one in particular is awesome. This is a 2-page spread of Spawn and the Demon's Hand for the Dreamcast. This is also one I've never played, even though I've played the hell out of the Dreamcast, so I need to change that, but I believe you go around shooting shit. And it's by Capcom, so it's got to be worth trying at least once, right? I love that artwork. That looks like it took a lot of effort. And one more advertisement, you kind of get 3 for the price of 1 here. I love this because Namco in the 2000s were killing it. 3 games for the PS2. You got MotoGP, Ridge Racer 5, Tekken Tag Tournament. Love Tekken Tag. It's like a sweepstakes. Enter the Namco sweepstakes. You win a Tekken Tag arcade unit. Badass. Here's Superman Unchained from the New 52 line. Issue 2, $3.99 at the time of release. This is from September of 2013. And moving right along, we have an ad to pre-order Batman Arkham Origins. And it was on pretty much everything, PC, 360, PS3, Wii U, the handhelds. The 3DS and Vita versions were actually side-scrollers. It's called Arkham Origins Blackgate, and it wasn't that bad from what I remember. Space Ghost, Coast to Coast, number 18. This is a really cool series. I've only got like 4 issues, but this came out in February of 2001. It was $1.99 at the time of release. And I love these because you don't really have to read these in order. You can jump in at any time with this series. And there's a couple pretty cool ads in here. So first, we have an ad for a breakout game, a 3D breakout game for the PS1 and PC. And this looks very interesting. A lot of the arcade remakes like Centipede, Missile Command, stuff like that, they're very hit or miss, but this actually looks pretty fun. I'm gonna have to try that later. Here's another game. What is this? Blues Brothers 2000. Never heard of it. For the N64. Maybe it's a rhythm game, maybe it's a platform, I don't know. Maybe it's both. Another arcade remix or remake, Galaga Destination Earth for PC, PlayStation, Game Boy Color. This looks like just a generic on-rails shooter, but I'd be willing to give it a go because Galaga. And Namco didn't make this, and neither did Midway. That's weird. Now here's something Namco did make. Miss Pac-Man Maze Madness for N64, Dreamcast, PlayStation. I've not played this, but it looks decent. I've seen it around, I know what it is, I just never bothered to try it. You can play 4 players though apparently, so that's kinda cool. Here's an ad for Spyro Year of the Dragon. Watch Kids WB, you can win a trip to a real castle. Obviously this is for PlayStation 1. Watch Kids WB for details on how you can win a trip to England to visit a real castle in the new Spyro Year of the Dragon game for the PlayStation. Can't beat that. Here's yet another advertisement. So this is the Grinch game for the Game Boy Color, PlayStation, Dreamcast. Looks like your typical platform game. I don't know if it's any good, I never tried it. Cool 2-page spread though. It's by Konami, so it's got to be at least decent, right? Konami back then, they were also killing it. Looks like it's pretty decent based on the screenshots though. Here's another one. Woody Woodpecker Racing. There were a ton of kart racers back then. This is a 2-page spread as you can see. This was for Game Boy Color, PC, Dreamcast, PlayStation. And here are the screenshots. Looks alright for the time. These kart racers though, they were a dime a dozen. This is Force 21 for the Game Boy Color. Looks kind of like a RTS or a TBS strategy game. Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. I've never played any version of this, but here are the systems. Game Boy Color, N64, PS1. Screenshots here. It doesn't look great to be honest. Looks kind of half-assed. Here's another Space Ghost issue. This was from August of 2000, originally $1.99. And here's the first video game ad, Iron Soldier 3. I didn't even know there were 3 of them. I thought there was just one, but yeah, it's a mech game, first person, just for the PlayStation, by Telegames. Does that sound familiar? And not a game advertisement, but I still have to show this. Pokemon, the first movie. What's that saying? If you know, you know. Is that what the kids are saying now? Here's a real banger, Bomberman 64, the Second Attack. These N64 Bomberman games were so good. I didn't have the Second Attack because it was expensive as hell even back in the day, but I played the first one a lot and I loved it. And I've always heard the Second Attack is even better. Bomberman Hero is awesome too. Excellent graphics here considering it's N64, and at the bottom here is an ad for Bomberman Max Red and Blue for the Game Boy Color. That's pretty cool. More video games, new titles, great prices. First we have Rampage Through Time. I didn't know that existed, I thought there was just Rampage 1 and 2. And then the beloved Mortal Kombat Special Forces. Piece of shit. I love Midway, but then there's some things they did where I'm just like, what were they thinking? Walt Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour. What a mouthful. This actually looks kind of fun. I'm not really a Disney fan at all, but this looks decent at least based on the pictures. It's yet another kart racer from that era. Released on PS1, Game Boy Color, and Dreamcast by Eidos, or Crystal Dynamics, whoever. Coming summer 2000, so if you're in the year 2000, get ready, I guess. Another Space Ghost issue. This is number 15 from November 2000, and this was $1.99 at the time of release. Within the first couple pages, bam, another video game ad, and this is for the Game Boy Color. That's all it was for, really. Geography just got interesting, and then you see Game Boys in the shape of states. Get into it, or something. This is pretty cool. This is an ad for Mario Tennis for the N64. I'm not a tennis fan, but you really don't have to be to like Mario Tennis. Love these games. Love Power Tour especially on the GameCube. And this looks very good being that it's an N64 game. I'm telling you, this is a time machine if you're a 90s kid. Like, come on, WB, Jackie Chan Adventures. This is the last Space Ghost, I promise. So, issue number 9, May of 2000, $1.99, and you're greeted right off the bat with a Game Boy Color advertisement. This one has actually got a lot of Game Boy Color in it. It includes rocket launcher, laser, assault rifle, flamethrower. What is that game? Oh, Bionic Commando, okay. You gotta love the Kiwi Game Boy. This is another cool one. Here's a pseudo 3D racing game, Top Gear Pocket 2 for the Game Boy Color. Looks good for what it is, that Outrun style. I'm gonna have to try that. 36 courses by Kimco. Next, we got an ad for Polaris Snowcross for Game Boy Color. This was sort of an RC Pro-Am type game, but with snowmobiles. I did have this game as a kid. It was one of the few games that I had for Game Boy Color, and back then I liked it a lot. I don't know if it's aged well, I haven't played it in years, but I did play it all the time. I might revisit it. Now this is kind of an oddball, so this comic series right here, Marvel Nemesis, The Imperfects, is pretty much an advertisement for a video game in itself, because there is a Marvel Nemesis video game for pretty much all platforms, and they use the comic series here to market that. And well, the game sucked, or at least people said it sucked. I actually liked it, but I can see why people didn't. It had really janky controls, but if you can get past that, it's pretty much like playing Power Stone, but with Marvel characters. And it has like a really cool dark vibe to it. And I think the premise of the comic and the video game, the story and all that's really cool, but I digress. So this is from 2005. There's quite a few advertisements in here. The first one is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And it was pretty much on every console, all the handhelds. I had the DS version of the game and I actually really liked it. I thought it was cool. Really good side-scrolling beat 'em up. Never tried the console versions though. This is kind of interesting. So this is a Marvel comic, but they're showing an ad for Batman. Batman Begins, the video game. Never played it, was pretty much on everything though. Rise of the Kasai, never heard of it. It's on PS2. Looks like an action-adventure game. Here's something we all know and love, God of War. The first God of War for PS2. Awesome. Here's one that I've always been meaning to play, I just haven't gotten around to it. It's in the backlog, but Psychonauts. This was on the PS2, Xbox, PC, and it's by Tim Schafer. I always thought this had a really cool art style to it. I really need to get around to playing this because it looks really fun. And lastly, Jade Empire for the Xbox. I'm not an Xbox guy, this was an exclusive, but here it is. It does look cool. I've seen videos on this, and it is supposed to be one of the best Xbox games. Here's issue 2, still 2005, still $2.99 for this. And this is going to be a common theme. You're going to see a lot of superhero type games because obviously this is a Marvel comic. So here's Fantastic Four for pretty much everything. PlayStation, Game Boy Advance, Xbox, GameCube, PC. I've never been a big fan of Fantastic Four, it just never piqued my interest. Looks decent though as far as the game goes, at least from the screenshots. It's a licensed movie tie-in type thing, so. Another Batman Begins ad, that's the same exact one, so skipping that. Another Psychonauts, same advertisement, but different screenshots. Conquer, Live and Reloaded. I played the original Conquer, it's awesome. Never played the Xbox one because I didn't have an Xbox. But here's the ad for that. Gamefly. Remember Gamefly? Unlimited game rentals delivered. Choose from over 2,000 titles. Bunch of Xbox and PlayStation games on here. God of War, Unreal Championship, Splinter Cell, Midnight Club 3. I love Midnight Club 3. That's a badass game. I don't know a single person who actually used Gamefly, so I have no idea how that experience was. Another Jade Empire ad, exactly like the last one, so. And here's something kind of cool. This is a Blockbuster ad for a bunch of controllers. Every superhero needs a sidekick. 1999. Not bad considering what they are. I don't know if these were actually any good. I've never seen them before until this ad, but I find it kind of interesting that it's Blockbuster. So I guess there may be Blockbuster branded controllers. Marvel Nemesis number 3. This is another one in the backlog. Destroy All Humans for Xbox and PS2 by THQ. I have this on the Switch, I just haven't played it yet. It always looked really fun though. I'm all for destroying humans, I don't know about you, but. Another Fantastic Four ad. This doesn't look identical to the first one I showed, so yeah, it has a few different screenshots. I think they're different. Another Conquer ad, that's identical. Here's my favorite of the lot right here. Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones for the Game Boy Advance. Showing the SP right there. Love that game. Love it. Marvel Nemesis issue 4 of 6. Still $2.99, still 2005. Another Conquer ad, skipping that. I believe they show this more than once too, but this is Dungeon Siege 2 for PC. I guess it's an MMO probably, that's what it strikes me as at least. Cool looking ad though, it's a 2-page spread. Looks like an MMO. I could be wrong, but I've never played it, so I don't know. Another Destroy All Humans ad, same as last time. This one I believe appears more than once too, but Sid Meier's Pirates Live the Life. My wife might like that, she likes pirates. Xbox game, here's the screenshots. Looks neat, I'm going to have to actually tell her about that. Here's a cool one. The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction for GameCube, Xbox, and PS2. We're almost done. Marvel Nemesis 5 of 6. Here's a game that I love, the Ultimate Spider-Man. This was pretty much on everything, all the consoles, all the handhelds, and this was a kick-ass beat-em-up with cel-shaded graphics. I love the cel-shaded thing they did in the 2000s. Really cool game. I really need to revisit it. Another Incredible Hulk ad. This is a little different. It shows more screenshots. Ultimate Destruction. The world is your weapon. Oh, another one. So this was a 3-page advertisement. Advance Wars Dual Strike. This was a killer title for the DS also. I love that one. This is a good one too. X-Men Legends 2. Really cool beat 'em up. Sort of isometric type deal. This was on everything too, even on the N-Gage. Remember the N-Gage? No? Me neither. Nah, I do. Don't want one though. Another Pirates advertisement, same as the last one. Here's an advertisement for Marvel Nemesis. About time they showed the video game. So here's a 2-page spread, horizontal. And I'm telling you, give this game a chance if you haven't. The control is kind of crap, but if you look past that, it is fun. It's like Power Stone, so if you like Power Stone, you'll probably like this game. WWE Day of Reckoning 2. I guess WWE because the F is missing. For GameCube. Here's one a lot of people love. I've never played it, but payable for the Xbox. It looks cool, I've just never played it. Another ad for Dungeon Siege 2. This one's a little different. You know something? Skechers, I don't know about you, but they hurt my damn feet. And wrapping it up, we have issue 6 of Marvel Nemesis. Another X-Men Legends 2 advertisement. This one's a little different. I've never beaten this. I've only played it briefly, but it's really cool. I need to revisit it and actually try to go through it. Same ad for Marvel Nemesis. About the 37th time I've seen the Pirates ad. Age of Empires 3. Never got into this series. I know absolutely nothing about it. Another Fable ad.
John C.
Here's a cool one. Star Wars Battlefront 2. You gotta love Battlefront. You don't even have to be a Star Wars fan to like Battlefront. Good old LucasArts. I didn't know this one existed. Gauntlet 7 Sorrows for the PS2 and Xbox. Cool artwork. I liked, what was it? Dark Legacy. I think it was on the Dreamcast and PS1 and N64. I liked that one. This one looks interesting though. Looks cool. Still has co-op. If it's Gauntlet, it has to have co-op. And that's everything. And that's it for today. Are there any ads like this that live rent-free in your head? Let me know in the comments below. And if you made it this far, just want to say thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. And until next time, horns up.